Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it's time for another Dadbod to Daddy transformation vlog, and today was back in Bicep Day, which is really becoming one of my favorite days because I really am enjoying training biceps, particularly as someone who neglected them for years and years as a power lifter. Actually pushing my biceps hard is something I've been working on, right? I want to have good arms, and I have that old torn bicep, so again, it's been a heck of a journey, and they've actually been coming along, but I started off with weighted pull-ups, and I did 2 sets of 6 with 45. I'm like, let me see right now if I can do 90 pounds, right? Let me throw a second plate on, and I managed to get 3 reps. Now, the thing with pull-ups, people look at my back, and I always get people who will comment on the way I do different back exercises, and they don't like it. And I kind of look at them and go, is your goal to build a big back? Is your goal to, perform pull-ups? I focus on building my lats on the pull-ups, so I worry about that stretch at the bottom. Also, with my long arms, long forearms, overall shoulder, and that wide grip, I really can't get over the top, and I can't do that even with a lat pull down, and I don't worry about it, right? So people bring that up, and it's like, that is the full range of motion of the lats of what I'm doing. That the muscle is worked through its entire range of motion. When you start doing that, trying to do a chin over the bar on a wide grip pull-up, you're just doing a lot of shoulder rotation, and I think people forget that. And that's okay. I mean, if you're doing chins and you're trying to get good at that rotation on chin-ups, totally understandable. Different exercise for different goal. I'm using the pull-ups to build lats and just overall back strength. And again, this is power building right now, so I'd like to start off with a really, really heavy exercise, and then I go to all my pump work. So for just higher rep stuff today, I went ahead and did Yates rows. I rotate through a lot of different rows, and I think people have realized they've seen me do about 6 or 7, 8 different types of rows over the years. I like rows. I think all rows are good. So I don't really have favorites. They've all contributed to my back development. I feel like the Yates rows like this, though, are a little better for arm, and because in my case, again, I need more bicep. I like the extra grip training. I feel like this row really does a lot for that, right? It does a lot for it. And I also feel the upper back quite a bit more on this variation. So it's one of the reasons I like it. So again, I'm working with it a little bit. Also, for me, it's one of the hardest ones to grip, and I like the extra grip training. Now, the trick with the Yates row is, of course, don't try to get too upright. Too many people do that, and they turn it into a trap exercise. It's not meant to be a shrug. Lats are still the primary movers on this. Yes, it works traps. Yes, it works rear delts. All right, but those all have their own day too. So the whole point here is that I really want it to be lats first and then biceps. So again, I got around 10 reps on those, and the trick on that, again, that stretch at the bottom is the key. Stretch at the bottom is the key. And I do those without straps, so that kind of forces you to be strict because you can't really cheat. You try to cheat, you just won't be able to grip it. And then I do straight bar curls. Now, this exercise, for me, doing these super strict, has helped tremendously with my biceps. And this is one of those movements that if you struggle with bicep development, like I have, biceps are lagging, this exercise really is kind of your foundational movement. It really is. Why? Because it works the bicep through a full range of motion, right? We go all the way down, and then when we come up to the top, it allows us to work both of the most important functions of the bicep. Yes, they have a third function, but that third function may not add actual size. Function of them is to flex the elbow, and then that first 30 degrees of shoulder extension. So you notice my elbows come forward and the shoulder rotates about 30 degrees. By bringing the bar to the face, we get that. Also notice I keep the wrist cocked back just a little bit so there's still tension at the top. But come all the way down, right? We don't just rock it back and leave the elbows bent. We come all the way down. Do the full range of motion. Don't cheat. Yeah, you can't do a lot of weight. I mean, 75 pounds for 10s is all I can handle there, right? Especially after doing all that other work. I can do 12 to 13 fresh, but I'm doing lat work first. This lights my biceps up. Like, I didn't even think I'd be able to do my preacher curls next. Didn't even think I could. Preacher curls, again, another big one for me that I feel like have really helped bridge that gap. So preacher curls, I've been doing them for a couple months now with the easy bar. I decided to go back to the dumbbells today because, again, that independent work being done, making sure both sides are being worked evenly. Plus, sometimes I hit the little posts and everything. It gets a little catawampus with the easy bar because the plates on the end hit it. So I'm like, let's just go back and mess with the dumbbells, right? Really concentrate. And my God, I could only do 2 sets. Like the first set, I got like 12 reps. Second set, I failed on rep 9. My biceps were so lit on the first set, I didn't think I'd be able to even do a second set. So I'm like, man, my biceps can't even handle this today. Man, this is a lot. It's just that the pump was so tremendous, right? They burned, they pumped. Although I've had a few people point out, they're like, you push through really hard on those. Like you can tell those final couple reps, you're hurting. And I do. And that's the thing on these. And that's one reason I like the preacher curl. It's kind of hard to cheat. And as long as you don't lay back on it, you're forced to fight through those final reps. And you really get those deep fibers in the biceps. And the other thing, of course, the big deal with the preacher curl is that stretch. It puts us into a lengthened position at the bottom. It gives us the potential for that deep stretch reflex. And then there's not really a lot of way to cheat around it. That's why when you look at some of the studies, they are showing superior growth in the lower half of the bicep from this exercise. Whereas in things like the incline curl, which I finish up with, I do a set at the end here, probably a little more upper, but they're both stretch reflex movements. So again, but if you want a good base for your biceps, do those strict curls and then do preacher curls. It can be with an easy bar, it can be with dumbbells. It's a winning combination because you get that full range of motion exercise working both of those functions, okay, because you have that shoulder involved. But, we could argue you got the full range of motion with a little less emphasis on the stretch because of the way it loads it. You don't really tend to fail low down. Tends to fail closer to the top. Whereas with the preacher curl, you fail at the bottom. So it's an extremely different stimulus in the bicep. And again, if we're trying to build a lagging muscle, like if you really struggle with a muscle, working those different functions strictly isn't a bad idea. So for me, I do so much stuff with the stretch on the tricep right now because I know that I need that long head to grow. So the idea is the same here, but these were brutal. Like I was debating even doing a third set. I'm like, I can't. I'm going to fail on like rep 4 because the second set, like it was so hard. And I always lead with the weak arm and then try to take the strong arm, but I failed. I couldn't complete the same number of reps on that right side. So after that, I'm like, let me do my leg raises. When I did my hanging leg raises, which you always do, and I'm like, I really hate to stop short on the biceps. 5 sets of the direct work, because again, I only train them once a week. It probably was enough. To be honest, I felt a tremendous amount of stimulus. Right, my biceps were burning super, super hard after all that. But I'm like, let me give them a short break, do a hanging leg raise, and I'll finish off with an incline curl. Because I'd already rolled the preacher bench back over to my deadlift platform. I'm like, my preacher bench is over there, and I already have that bench behind me. Let me just do a set of incline curls. Let's finish them off. Let's make sure they're done. So we'll hit that third angle. Again, that other stretch position movement. Again, incline curls, a favorite old school bodybuilder exercise. Some guys with great biceps back in the 50s and 60s loved this. So again, same thing, stretch reflex movement. Key to getting the most out of this, the stretch at the bottom. So super happy with today's workout. All right, my biceps got just destroyed. Hits a really good top set of weighted pull-ups, so super happy with it. So I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.